This show is sponsored by MidasResources.com, your trusted source for precious metals since 1996. Call Midas today at 1-800-686-2237.
The following program is a rebroadcast of a previously aired show.
What is up? Greetings, America and beyond, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and to your well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body and of your health. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 26 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity, skin diseases like acne and psoriasis and rosacea and eczema, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, digestive ailments of all kinds, autoimmune issues, recoveries that by the standards of the modern medical model can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment, day-by-day basis, and while it may seem like a miracle to some folks, this renewing system is really just the way the body works, business as usual for the human body. If you have questions about health, nutrition, or prescription drugs, we welcome your phone calls on The Bright Side at 866-582-9933. Actually, today we have a special guest in the second half of the program, so we may not get to phone calls. If you want to learn more about the longevity products, you can go to my website, brightsideben.com. We have a shopping cart up there with all the longevity products that you hear us talk about on the program. You can also click on the left-hand side of the page at brightsideben.com, the Join Now link, and you can start yourself a longevity business, make some money selling longevity products, or get your products at the wholesale price, or just join the Brightside Ben team and help me in my mission to educate the world about the importance and the power of a good nutritional supplement program. You can also call Phyllis and Andy or anybody on the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. All right, welcome to the Brightside, folks. I want to begin by acknowledging everybody, Brightside listeners, new listeners, regular listeners. I want to commend you for being interested in your health, really interested in your health, not buying the mainstream baloney that deifies doctors and the medical model, and really being interested in figuring out how your body works, how your biochemistry works, the mechanisms of the body for yourself. And I want to acknowledge and commend you for that. Today we're going to cover a subject that's near the top of the list when it comes to globalism and corporatocracy and the seemingly endless, intentional, concentrated efforts that the powers that be have employed to keep humanity dumb, weak, sick, and enslaved. And that is the issue of GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. At least once or twice a week, I get a letter from someone who's concerned about GMOs in foods and even in supplements. And because of how important this subject is and how fraught with misunderstandings this subject is, I want to spend today talking about GMOs. Later in the hour, we're going to be talking to Stacey Malkin about GMO labeling. Californians are going to the voting booth tomorrow. They're going to be voting on a bill that would force manufacturers to declare on their labels if they're using GMOs in their products. And while it may seem like a no-brainer, I mean, who could argue with just a bill that would have manufacturers declare what they have in their food? It seems like a no-brainer, but apparently Monsanto and other big-time food and chemical companies are spending a lot of money trying to convince people that they don't really need to know what's in their food. This is going to be in the second half of our program. We'll be talking to Stacey Malkin, but before we get there, I think with all the controversy swirling around this GMO issue, it might be a good idea to really sink our teeth into what exactly are GMOs and what are some of the things about genetically modified organisms that can be problematic, that can affect our health. First of all, in order to really get a grip on GMOs, we have to understand a little bit about genetics. Now, I know the subject of genetics can make the eyes of even the most scientifically minded of us glaze over, but that doesn't scare us here on the bright side, because our mission is to simplify every aspect of this amazing, remarkable human body system and all of biology, really, and make it easy to comprehend so that we can make good choices when it comes to supplementation, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to the kind of foods we eat, and when it comes to the decisions we make and how we are going to live our lives from a health perspective. So for the next minute or two, I want to take the subject matter we call genetics and make it somewhat easy to understand. So, everything in our body arises from the activities of cells, and all the activities of cells, of everything a cell does, nothing is more important, nothing is more significant, nothing has more health implications than the job a cell does making proteins. Cells are making proteins non-stop. This is the raison d'etre. This is the reason for existence of a cell, is to make proteins. And proteins, as we've said many times on this program, are little pieces, little biochemicals, you just call them things, little things in the body that do all of the work. All of the work in your body, from thinking thoughts, moving muscles, digesting food, pumping blood, wiggling your fingers or your toes, every single thing in your body involves protein. If it's happening in the body, it's happening because of proteins. Proteins are also the chemicals that give us our physical characteristics: blue eyes, long fingers, dark skin. And proteins are made by cells. Cells make proteins. This is their most important thing they do. This is their reason for existing. Nothing is more important in terms of what a cell does. Nothing is more important in terms of what happens in your body than this job of making proteins. Cells make proteins, and there's over 100,000, maybe even 200,000 different proteins that they're making. Now, here is the most important piece of information that you need to know about genetics. Every single aspect of health and disease depends on making proteins, and genetics is nothing more than the science of how proteins get made. Okay? Every single aspect of health is going to depend on making proteins, and genetics is simply the science of how proteins get made from genes. Hence the term genetics. The second important thing to know is that inside each cell you have this long microscopic string, a chemical string that's maybe 10 feet long. And we're talking 10 feet long in a space that's maybe 1/100th the size of the head of a pin. So if you take your mind's eye and divide a head of a pin by 100 times, that's how big a cell is. And within that cell, you've got a long string of chemicals wound tightly. Actually, it's wound tightly within the center of a cell, which is an area maybe 10% of that cell. So take a pin, the head of a pin in your mind's eye, divide it up by 1,000 times, and in that space you've got a long string of chemicals. This long string of chemicals is divided into 25 to 30,000 different parts. All right, so you got this long string of chemicals in the center of a cell. 10 feet might not seem very big, but what's really amazing, this 10-foot long string is packed into a space that's 1,000 times smaller than the head of a pin, and this 10-foot long string is divided up into 25 or 30,000 different pieces. This long string of chemicals is called DNA, and the 30,000 or so different pieces are called genes. That's what genes are, and that's what DNA is. It's just a long string of chemicals divided up into little parts. Now, we don't need to get into too much chemistry here, but for simplicity's sake, we'll just say that each one of these 25 or 30,000 different genes makes a protein. The main point to understand here, every gene, every one of these little segments on this long string of chemicals is responsible for making protein. In other words, proteins, the most important chemicals in the body, the chemicals that determine everything in our body, everything our body does, everything our body is, from our eye color to the length of our bones to the way we digest our food to fighting cancer and viruses or anything else any animal or any human does or any bacteria does or any fungus does or any living thing does, any plant does, any tree does, any vegetation does, comes from the specific patterns of the chemicals that compose these long strings, these little tiny segments that we call genes. All right, we'll continue this discussion when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We're going to take a time out and come back and we'll continue talking about genetics and genetically modified organisms. Don't go away.
For health and vitality for you, your family, and friends, get the Healthy Start Pack from Longevity, as recommended by registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
If you're a junk food junkie, getting on the Healthy Start Pack is one of the best ways to wean yourself off of processed snack foods and start putting good nutrition in your body. If you have a loved one who's dealing with heart disease or any health challenge, the Healthy Start Pack makes a great gift. If you have a grandparent or a parent in a nursing home, you will be amazed at the difference a once-a-day dose of the Healthy Start Pack will make in your loved one's energy levels, in their memory, in their mood, and in their general outlook on life.
Give the gift of optimal health to your loved ones and order the Healthy Start Pack from Longevity by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470 or on the web at brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com. Order today.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the host you're listening to right now, online at gcnlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at gcnlive.com.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
Results will vary from case to case.
Independently leading the way for the nation. Compelling talk for every political persuasion. We are GCN.
The following program is a rebroadcast of a previously aired show.
Welcome Welcome back to the Bright Side. Pharmacist Ben here. Thank you so much for joining us, friends. We are here Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. If you miss a program or if you want to review a program, if you didn't get all the information on a program, you can get everything at brightsideben.com on the archive page. You'll also find a shopping cart with all the longevity products and a Join Now link.